Who do you look like? And who do you look like? Probably our mind first went to, well, people say I'm more like my mom, look like my dad, combination. And while that's true, but who do we look like or act like in our life? In addition to our parents and our family members. There's the expression that some effect of you're the sum of your 5 friends or something like that. Well, which isn't totally true, but the idea is that those who hang out with, those who influence you the most, you will act and believe like them, in addition to our family. So that's a question for all of us to think about this morning. Who do we look and act like? You know, this week we had our Bishop Hicks come, and he did confirmation for 50-some of our young people and 5 of our adults. Great occasion. He's a good bishop, and you know, a lot of times, can't really see it there, sorry, but a lot of times, the bishop will have different stuff that he's wearing. That's the liturgical term, stuff. He has different stuff that he's wearing, and has a big hat, the mitre, which symbolizes authority of God, like Moses and Aaron used to have like a turban, a hat there. That's where it comes from. And you can say Old Testament back, New Testament front. You say that. Why is he dressed in red, right? Do you know why he's dressed in red? Yeah. I think I heard it, because of the Phillies, right? So he's dressed in red because the Holy Spirit, fire, red. I had to bring it up somehow. All right. Oh, hey, we had a parking lot reserved for him. So it's always good to reserve a parking lot for. But at the bottom of it, hey, what happened there? That's amazing. Okay, we're welcoming. Okay, so, but the bishop wears different things to show his authority. He is looking like Jesus, the authority of Jesus, and Jesus gave his authority to the apostles, and then the successor to the apostles, which are the bishops, and then the priests, and then as laity, we're all involved in that by our baptism as priest, prophet, and king in Jesus Christ. But, for example, like there's been times in the past in which the governor says something of the state or local official or the president or whoever, and while we should respect law, and we do respect law, and they have certain authority there, even St. Paul talks about pray for those in authority, and we should respect them, respect their office, right? And we do that. But the main authority that we follow is the bishop. He has the main authority from God, and then it would be the Pope and so forth. So our teachings of our faith. But sometimes we get that a little mixed up in our society, I think, any country, right? We get so influenced by our culture, which is normal. We should be good patriots, and to be good patriots of the country that you belong to, that you are from, that you live in. The key to being a good patriot is to put God first. If we put God first, then we're being a true patriot. Then we're being a true citizen, because we know that we're sons and daughters of God first. We heard in the gospel Jesus talking about image, like when they showed him the coin, which is similar to a coin. This is actual coin of that time. I'm not sure which Caesar this is, but it's one of the Caesars. And he said, whose image is this? Whose image is this? I should remind us of something. So how about let's go to a little scripture. After Adam and Eve, who was the first? Who was the first to be mentioned as made in image and likeness? Made in image and likeness. Okay, everybody has to answer one of these. Raise of hand, who thinks it's Noah? Who thinks it's Noah? Raise your hand. Okay, who thinks it's Abel? Abel, raise your hand. All right. Okay, who thinks it's Seth? Seth, raise your hand. Only a couple there. Who thinks it's Shem? Okay. Seth, C, it is. Seth. And I even get confused. I didn't look this up before this. But anyway, so, but Abel is the one that took the place of really, Seth took the place of Abel after Abel was killed by his brother Cain. And so it says that, well, first, okay, it says that Seth was made, well, it says Adam. Adam lived 130 years. We'll get into a number of years in the future. He became the father of a son in his own likeness, after his image, and named him Seth. Named him Seth. We hear that Adam and Eve, from Genesis 1st chapter, 26, God said, let us make man in our image. First inkling that Trinity, right? Let's make man in our image, after our likeness. And then later on it says, so God created man in his own image. Male and female, he created them. So it's important that we get this right in terms of image and likeness. Shem, by the way, that fourth answer, Shem is one of the sons of Noah, and he was the one that was he was a very good son. And so the line kind of went through him. They were called the Shemites. That's why, like, if someone is anti-Jewish, you say anti-Semite. That's where you get that word. Maybe we'll get to that in a moment. But God created them male and female, Adam and Eve, in his image and likeness. It was the custom of that day in Rome to believe that Caesar was God. I think it was Julius Caesar that first said that he was God, I believe, if I get that correct. Then maybe Augustus after him. So they actually thought that they were God. And on this, on the coins, Tiberius, who was a Caesar at that time, it says, son of the divine Augustus. So really, son of God. So they're giving this coin to Jesus, who is the Son of God, and asking him to make a decision on this. And they have him in a trap. Because the Pharisees are the religious leaders and political leaders. It's kind of both combined there. But they are getting it wrong in terms of how to live out the law of God in certain areas. The Herodians don't really care about religion. They just care about being in power and politics. And so, but they find help with each other because they both don't like Jesus. Because Jesus is different than their religious, than their political beliefs and what they're trying to do at that time. So they want to get him. If Jesus says, yes, pay the tax, if he says that right away without any qualification, then the Roman soldiers who are there in the temple where this is happening, this question happened in the temple, we believe, they would have heard that and could arrest him on the spot for insurrection and for going against the Roman Empire. If he says, what did I say? What's that? If you pay the tax, okay. So if you pay the tax, thank you. If you pay the tax, the Pharisees, the religious leaders, would say, hey, you're supporting a government that is a bad government, and they're killing us, they're persecuting us. Do not pay that tax. But if he says the other side, then the Romans would arrest him. So he was in this trap, which even I'm confused about right now. But anyway, so it can be confusing. Exactly. Yeah, that was a good one. All right, so it can be confusing. But Jesus, who's God, and I'm not, he was smart, and he he got out of this trap. Repay to Caesar what is Caesar's, repay to God what is God's. But what is God's? That's our whole heart. That's our whole being. And I come back to the question, who do we most look like in our life? What does our Facebook account look like mostly? Is it more red or blue? The back of our bumper sticker in a car. More red or blue? Conservative, liberal, Democrat, Republican, independent, whatever. Whatever it is. Now, we can and should be involved in politics, right? One of the reasons why we've strayed in different ways in morality is because we haven't had people who are practicing their faith, especially their Christian faith, who are part of politics, or at least they don't continue that when they're in their position. And so we're called to be involved in that. That being said, we have to make sure that our life is informed more by the gospel, more by the scriptures, more by the catechism, more by the sacraments, rather than a political party or a person or an ideology. But I think we struggle with that at times because we spend a lot of time on our favorite politician, our favorite party, our favorite person on TV, our podcast person on Instagram, on Twitter or X, whatever it is, our favorite celebrity, our friends, our teachers. But are they close to God? And are they close to Jesus Christ? I get concerned when I look in the media today, when I read different things going on. I get concerned because I see people and society in many ways that are finding their identity in different political movements and situations first instead of with God first. And our political party is not our religion. Pharisees got that wrong, but we get that wrong at times too when we don't go to God first, don't go to prayer, don't go to catechism. We want justice for all peoples, right? For all peoples. We want justice for Palestinians, we want justice for the Israelis, we want justice for Arabs, we want justice for every ethnicity, every country in the world. We're called Catholic Church because it means universal. God is uniting everybody in one religion, but it's never a forced thing, never a forced thing. But I get concerned because it seems like in today's world we are being influenced by other ideologies in our society. Especially right now in the United States, Marxism is getting a foothold again. Communism, socialism. Now, we can make an argument that democracy is considered the best way of government in our world. And while that's true on one hand, even a democracy is not perfect. A democracy only goes so far as the virtue of its people and its leaders. We can have the best democracy in the world and have freedom, but many can be away from God. It's about God first. And then we're good patriots. Then we're good citizens. Let's ask the Lord for the grace we need to put Him first again, to make sure that when people look at us, they see Jesus.